Central Texas Life with Ann Harder.
Hello and welcome. Ann Harder with you with Central Texas Life, the podcast. And today we're going to talk about some really special nonprofits. They are the charity champions this year as named by TFNB, your Bank for Life. I have with me the CEO and chairman of TFNB, David Littlewood. And this kind of was your creation, this whole charity champion
I can't
thing.
take full credit, but it was something that was born out of a real passion to do something unique and different at a time that we had a lot to celebrate. Had a big milestone back about 8 years ago. Our bank was founded and originally chartered in 1889. And so we celebrated 125 years under the same charter, consecutive years in business in Central Texas, and
That's
that was
remarkable when you consider how banks
we're very honored.
hands.
Obviously, none of us were there in the beginning, but we appreciate all of those who came before us that have sustained it through a lot of different eras. Depressions, wars, all sorts of historical things that many businesses didn't necessarily survive. So at that 125. Anniversary, we celebrated our community. We appreciated all the aspects of the bank and its existence, but we really wanted to do something that would be impactful and moving forward, make a difference for the community that had been so good for us and so many others prior for such a long time. And so that's how Charity Champions was born 8 years ago. And this is entering into the 8th season. We choose usually 6 nonprofits each season. If it's typically loosely based on how many home football games Baylor plays.
Okay, because you're very, very tied with Baylor Athletics.
We have a wonderful partnership with Baylor. The Baylor University as a whole and athletic department has been extremely supportive, as have many others like yourself, and so many people that are in the media have come alongside of us and partnered to help do what the mission is for Charity Champions. And I guess to speak to that mission, really what we wanted to do, we had a celebration, we had a party and that sort of thing. But what we really wanted to do was figure out a way to do something that could be impactful to our community as a whole, touch many different facets of the community, and address a lot of needs. Because, as you well know, McLennan County, Central Texas, there's so many wonderful benefits to living here, but there's a lot of poverty, there's a lot of needs, and we want to be good citizens and do all we can to help that. In order to do that, most businesses that are part of our community do many things, volunteer, monetarily, all these other things to help nonprofits. And we felt like we could count ourselves among that group at that time and always had, but we really wanted to figure out something to do in addition to that would be a little different. And so the theme of Charity Champions is really to lift up and help those who help others. And so as much as we want to help the nonprofits do their work to garner the funds that they need and all of the things that they require to keep their doors open and to do the monetary piece of that, we really wanted to recognize the employees, the executive director, all the way down to the part-time employees and then the volunteers and the boards and the whole collective effort of all of those who comprise each nonprofit that do such great work in our community. And so Charity Champions was born to do all we could to further the cause itself, but more importantly, I think the mission is to lift up those who devote their time, resources, and really their lives to those causes, because a lot of those folks get all the gratification they need from doing the work that they want to do. And
they don't do it for the recognition
that they're called to do.
To walk out on the football
field. But
at
at the same time, there is a bit of a shortfall in really recognizing how much effort and time and work and blood, sweat, and tears goes into the people that give their life and have passion for helping others.
And you've seen this over the past 8 years, with all these multiple agencies and the folks that are and people that are involved in several of them. When we had the opportunity to have the announcement this year, There's somebody on the Waco Symphony boards, also on one of the other boards. I mean, doing double duty, some of them triple duty, because people that are passionate about the community, and they just give and give and give, and you've seen that firsthand.
And absolutely, and to create awareness, I think there's a lot of people who want to give and give and give, but don't necessarily know how to engage or what it would take. Well, and
that's why this is important.
That awareness factor is very important.
Because you're bringing that forward. Let's talk a little bit about, let's just talk about this year's recipients. And I've kind of alluded to me being involved as president of the Waco Symphony Association Board. We were named this year.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
We're so excited. It's our 60th year for the Waco Symphony. And, of course, through COVID, had a whole season that was lost.
Right.
And there are local symphonies that went under.
Yes, it was.
So we're just
very devastating for so many.
Thrilled that was not the case for the Waco Symphony Orchestra. But it's every year for a nonprofit.
It's
making
challenge.
Budget
it's
and all those
a
kind
new
of
challenge
things.
every year.
So that's why we're so excited that the story of the Waco Symphony will be told on the broader stage.
Well, it's our pleasure to do that, and I know that's a passion of yours and many.
Yeah.
And again, in our business, we do support the arts. We support so much of what all of these nonprofits do that goes into making our community better. And so as a business, we've done all we can to, some of us serve on those boards, and we try to fund whatever we can that's reasonable. But again, when we set out to do this, we plan to continue writing checks and doing the things we can to support them as a business. But we wanted to do something corporate-wide and community-wide that was totally different than that traditional type of support. And I think 8 years in now, we've met that metric. We continue to try to get better, press in every single season. A little bit about what that involves. As you alluded, we name the next season's charity champions typically to coincide with midsummer, and just in time to create a lot of buzz and excitement about Baylor football.
And they love that.
Each one of these nonprofits every year is selected to participate in one of the home football games, and it is kind of their game. And so through a lot of generosity and intellect and support, we've got media folks who interview them, who promote them, who partner with us on that. Again, Baylor's been tremendous. And so they get a lot of attention leading up to the football game that is their game to be showcased, media and everything else. And then on football day, John Morris graciously does a live broadcast that showcases what they do, what their needs are, all of those sorts of things.
Show,
And then early in the game, when we have people, typically early in the game, you've got more people in seats than any other time. So again, it's details, the devil's in the details. They've been good enough to allow us to recognize these nonprofits at each game when it's their turn early in the game.
Early in the game, that's
very early in the game. They are recognized on the field. There's a video produced that's shown on the big board that talks about what they do, why they do it, and then typically we will encourage them to ask for a big need, something that is almost unattainable or that would be a process to try to raise funds or get the word out. And so put that out there, and it's been really cool to see how many of those big needs have been addressed over the course of these 8 years, just from the hype that we've been able to create in that one arena. And so that's the fall, that's the football game, that's Baylor's part of Baylor's partnership. And then we move into the end of the year, football season winds down, and then we have basketball, of course. And so we do the same thing on the court with each nonprofit gets similar recognition during the basketball season on the court.
Women's game, or
both?
Okay.
Both,
Oh,
actually both. Yes. So there's a lot more recognition coming there. And then during all of that time, we produce our marketing team along with 360. Chip Wilson, CEO of 360 Solutions, has been our partner since day one. He serves on our board, and we're very equally yoked in our drive to serve in this way. So he actually helps produce a lot of marketing pieces as we help do that as well. And those are promoted through some graciousness from our media outlets, but then we also fund quite a bit of the promotion for these nonprofits during their year to be showcased as charity champions. And then in January, we have a program that is Chip Wilson's business is corporate leadership, team building, bonding, all these sorts of things that corporate entities will hire him to do to help continuous improvement, achieve best practice, excellence, all that, and it's not inexpensive. And and he is for profit typically, and most of the businesses that hire him are for profit. But the interesting piece about this is that all of these nonprofits are businesses. They all run a business. They all have a corporate entity to manage, and they have very limited resources. And as you well know, they're scrutinized on where those resources go. So the idea of hiring a corporate entity to do the type of work that Chip does is typically not within the realm of their budget. So very graciously, Chip donates his time for 5 months from January to May, half a day. The 6 nonprofits are all invited. Their board, their management team, the volunteers are invited to the room that will accommodate them. Right now, it's been at Ridgewood Country Club, but it may end up having to be relocated to the convention center because we're outgrowing that facility.
Because it's not just this year's. It's
once a charity champion, always a charity champion.
Amazing.
And so now,
what a wonderful asset that is to
we've had
new
many
board members. And
absolutely,
all that kind of thing.
We've had many nonprofits that were charity champions first, second, third, fourth year come back every year, and they bring more. And so that's a component that I think lives beyond just the year that you're showcased. Right. And again, we encourage all of the nonprofits that have been named charity champions to come back to us. We engage with them, we stay in touch, and if they have a need, we help promote it. If they've got a transition that is going on, we help them try to navigate through things. I think, as you alluded, the pandemic's a great example. It was in many ways a year lost, and we recognize that. And so the 6 nonprofits that were chosen, and I think that we actually had 7 that year, the 7 nonprofits we had prior to the group this year, because that first year was such a lost year, we just re-upped them. For last year.
That's good.
So we did everything we could during the pandemic, which was quite a bit. Yeah. And then they had a normal year last year. So they didn't miss out because otherwise we just felt like they would have been shortchanged and wanted to be sure that didn't happen. Yeah. So anyway, it's a passion. It's exciting for us, and we love this time of year.
Well, I love that the designation is not just for 1 year. I interviewed Lydia Tate with Christian Women's Job Corps, and I think she said 2013 maybe. Yep. They were named, and they use the resources that you provide for them, and are so grateful for that.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I didn't realize how, until we started this. I've lived here my whole life, knew how much need there was, served on boards, and was well aware of how many, a lot of nonprofits existed, but I had no idea how many. And doing 6 a year, we were kind of like in the beginning, well,
are we going to run out?
There couldn't be more than 50 or 60 nonprofits in McLennan County. Well, no, there's a whole lot more than that. And we're in no danger of running out anytime soon. So this is something that is growing. We encourage others to step out and figure out a way. We're not proprietary to the extent that we would be upset if somebody else stepped out and wanted to do something similar. I mean, we're all here to help this community. And so
but you really have a pretty strong brand.
Well,
now
thank you.
With this, which is remarkable. And TFNB, your Bank for Life, just seems like you're everywhere. I mean, really doing a lot in the community.
Well, we're very pleased to be a part of this community. Waco is vibrant. I've lived here my whole life, as have you, I believe, most of your life.
Oh, yeah.
And we've seen Waco, and I can speak for myself. I love Waco. I've chosen to be here. There's nowhere like it. And so to see Waco grow in ways and evolve and become a community that has kind of outgrown what I saw Waco as being as a child growing up, and even as a young person in business. I see Waco in so many positive ways becoming what Waco has always had the potential to be.
Yes.
And so consequently, doing what we can to be a part of that, the revitalization of downtown, and the other thing
remarkable.
that we're so passionate and excited about right now is we opened our 5th location in East Waco on Elm Street a little over about a year and a half ago, and we are so excited about that. It's been extremely well received. That area of town is growing in a very healthy pace, and there had been no bank. We've done some research, and from what I can tell, it's been at least 70 to 100 years since there's been a bank on the east side of the river, with the exception of American Bank on the highway.
The barrel.
But exactly. But as far as there being a community bank in East Waco proper, that's that demographic, that community has been very much underserved. And so we're really excited to provide that opportunity, what only a community bank can bring to that community.
Well, we want to talk more about the other charity champions for this year.
Absolutely.
We want to take a break right now, and we'll come back more with David Littlewood after this.
TIAA is on a mission. Why? Because 54% of Black Americans don't have enough savings to retire. So in collaboration with big-name artists like Wyclef Jean, TIAA released Paper Right, new music inspiring a new financial future. With 100% of streaming sales going to a nonprofit that teaches students how to invest. Stream Paper Right now and help close the gap.
Hi, this is Sarah.
And I'm Carter.
And this is Some of Our Thoughts.
We're 2 Southern sommeliers, and we want to share everything we love and know about wine. We started hanging out during quarantine and cooking and drinking and listening to music, and we just thought this would be a great way to bring everything we know to you guys.
We will make wine knowledge and food pairings easy and approachable. So put on your favorite vinyl, grab your favorite glass of wine, tune into our show, and let's have some fun.
Wine and vinyl. So check us out on roguemedianetwork.com or wherever you get your favorite podcast. We'll be talking about a lot.
Welcome to One Star Rewind, a new podcast about those dreaded 1-star reviews that every business owner hates to receive, but yet every customer loves to read. During this podcast, we will peel back that 1-star review to better understand how it happened, when it happened, and what the business owner is doing after receiving that 1-star review. This podcast will be about love, hate, and laughter. On One Star Rewind, we will meet with real business owners who will tell their stories and how they do rely on reviews for their business. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or download us at roguemedianetwork.com. Please subscribe, but only rate and review for not a 1-star review. Join us each time for a new review and a new story.
And we are back with David Littlewood, who is the chairman and CEO of TFNB, Your Bank for Life, talking about charity champions, the 6 nonprofits who get the real wonderful benefit of exposure at Baylor Athletics and just the wonderful branding that you've done of charity champions. To be considered one is quite an honor. And through social media and all the other opportunities, we, through the Waco Symphony, being named this year, have already had, because of the picture we got made when Coach Aranda was there. And it was just, it was quite a celebration. Yes. It was a lot of fun. Saw a lot of other friends from some other local agencies. So let's talk about them. Now, I know you and I both have a love for Council for Life.
Absolutely.
And they're ones that are
Council
named
for Life,
this
as
year.
you alluded to, Symphony, lots of passion there. Council for Life is an organization that is fairly new to our community. It's existed in Dallas for a very long time, but their first venture outside of the Dallas area is to Central Texas. And their mission is primarily focused on creating awareness and supporting those that find themselves in need, young mothers who find themselves expecting and need support, need resources, need prayer. And so their mission really is solely to assist all of the organizations and efforts that exist for the sanctity of life in regard to...
Yeah, and there are quite a number of them.
Yes, there are.
And so what's great is that they just raise money that help.
That's right, yes.
That help those other groups that are kind of the boots on the ground.
Exactly.
It's a wonderful organization.
We're very pleased that they're part
very
of the
life
group.
affirming, shall
Absolutely,
we say.
yes.
Also, there's Reach.
Reach Therapeutic.
Reach Therapeutic. I had them on the show.
Yes.
Central
And
Texas
great
Living
organization.
Show. Yeah, they're great.
That's one of the most interesting things about this is we continue to receive nominations all the time, and it's a very difficult process to choose to narrow it down to just 6 or 7 each year. And so Reach has been nominated many times,
I'm sure it has.
as many others have, and so it was very gratifying to see them be chosen this year.
Yeah,
and
they provide.
They provide
horseback riding, basically
service,
horseback,
which is very therapeutic for children, especially special needs, children who are on the spectrum. Folks that there's something about that process and that relationship that really reaches folks, i.e., the name Reach Therapeutics.
Yeah.
It's a special way to reach a lot of people who have some challenges as far as communication and certain
post-traumatic
challenges.
stress.
Exactly.
I mean, all those kinds of issues.
Yep.
That just a half hour on horseback
makes all the difference.
just transports them,
Yep.
literally.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great.
And then we've got Heart of Texas Homeless Coalition, which is a great organization. They are really doing great boots on the ground work in helping people achieve homeownership. First time.
Yeah, and it's certainly gotten more difficult because there's a lack of inventory.
Yep.
And then in the price range where, people can buy because the cost of real estate has just gone crazy.
That's exactly right. And then we also have the Community Cancer Association.
Yes.
Which has been around a very long time. And it's another organization that I think due to their cause and due to just the name having cancer in the name, has done tremendous work. It's a very home-based community, local organization that does a ton of work right here at home. And
just
very,
helping
very
get people
deserving.
to
Absolutely.
doctor's appointments. Real practical.
Their primary focus
help.
is basic needs that a lot of people don't think about when it comes to providing things that are necessities as it relates to experiencing cancer and treating cancer. So we're really excited
Community Cancer
about that.
Association is they're not the big American Cancer Society that's doing all the research and all that kind of stuff, but it is truly hyper local.
Absolutely.
The money stays local. And grassroots.
Grassroots is new to our community, relatively new. And when we submitted it to our team, evidently it sparked a whole lot of interest because it was one of the top recipients of our votes.
Really?
It was. And I think the reason is that it is a nonprofit that exists for the sole purpose of helping other nonprofits achieve what they do, provides resources, educational development, and those sorts of things. They primarily focus on things like financial literacy, basic things that folks need to figure out a way to navigate beyond what might be in their wheelhouse normally.
Yeah, there's a lot of help available for folks to do that, but
exactly.
accessing it, and that's my understanding that they They just help folks.
They do. They're a resource for nonprofits that are already doing a lot of work. And instead of being a go-to nonprofit for one item, if you've got a nonprofit that is doing, X, X, and X, but they want to include something that may not be in the scope of what they normally do, or they may not have the resources, Grassroots will come in and partner with them and help elevate what they're doing and make it a broader scope that encompasses things that could be helpful for what they do every day.
Well, it is a remarkable list.
Thank you.
Of folks
We agree.
this
We're
year,
very proud
and it's
of this
got to be
list.
hard.
It is very difficult.
It's got to be hard every year to.
The process, I'll speak to you briefly if that's okay.
Please, right. How can folks nominate somebody?
You can go to charitychampions.org. That's our separate website specifically for Charity Champions, and anyone can nominate. It's a very straightforward, very simple process, and you can nominate as many times as you want. So if you've nominated somebody in the past and they didn't receive it,
keep.
If we do keep all nominations, and you're not going, no one's going to be chosen by nominating more times than another. But by all means, keep them coming in. We don't discourage that at all. In fact, we encourage it. And so each year, the nominations, along with the bio information on what they do, is provided to our staff. And our staff, we've got about 110 employees now. Our staff reviews those and vote. Yeah. And so we choose. It is very much organic TFNB. It is.
That's great.
So culturally, that creates a tremendous amount of buy-in from our team at TFNB. We are very, very passionate about our whole employee team, understanding Charity Champions, and within the realm of what they can do, time and effort and monetarily, they really pitch in and make a big difference, volunteer-wise, support in every way. So it's been a fun thing to collaborate with that is within the workplace, but it's totally separate from the day-to-day work. And it's a way to collaborate and build camaraderie because you're doing something together that helps others.
Well, you're doing a wonderful thing in the community.
Thank you.
Have been for many, many years.
Thank you.
Of course, providing services as a bank, obviously, but also to really highlight local organizations and folks that have been so passionate about making things better for folks in Central Texas. Well, I like to end these visits with a little questionnaire.
Okay.
It's similar to the one that the great James Lipton used to do for Inside the Actor's Studio. This kind of reminds me of that set a little bit.
Okay.
What is your favorite word?
My favorite word. Oh, you didn't tell me we were going to do this.
I know, it's a surprise.
As trite as it is, I'm going to say my favorite word is love.
Sounds good to me.
That's what pops in first.
Okay. Then what is your least favorite word?
I would have to say disagreement.
Yeah. Okay. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
I am a people person. I love to get to know people. I love to get to know their stories. I am very driven by trying to learn what people's stories are, where they come from, what their
sounds like me,
what their needs are, and how we. Whether it's me personally in my personal life or whether it's business, what is your goal? What are your desires? What can we do? What can I do to help you within the realm of what I'm able to do? We are very much in tune to that in community banking. That's, I think, the main reason I was drawn to this as far as a living, as far as a career. You really do get to know people's stories and understand and walk along with them and help them in many ways that become very intimate and passion, comes with that. People have to tell you kind of where they're coming from and what their vision is, and that's personal. And so you really do get to know people on a personal level. And I was born a people person. I really care deeply about others.
Yeah. Then what turns you off creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Well, again, I think insincerity. I think, again, not to say that it's anything that is necessarily negative about any particular individuals, but I think one of the things that turns me off the most is idle chit chat. One of the basic things we talk about in some of the groups that I'm involved in is just really trying to figure out how to get to the core of the people that you care about and that you interact with regularly, so that you're not being superficial. You don't want to be intrusive. There's a line for sure. But this idea, especially in light of what has been going on recently in our society in so many forums, whether it's pandemic or others, just the idea that everybody's going along their hurried way, and you see people, you smile, and I think most people care, but you're checking the box and moving on. And again,
they sense that right away.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think a lack of sincerity or just being superficial turns me off.
Yeah. What is your favorite sound?
Oh, my favorite sound is the beach. The waves at the beach.
I hear that from a lot of people.
I don't get that as often as I'd like, but that is my favorite sound, the quiet of the ocean.
Okay, what about your least favorite?
My least favorite sound is the backup noise of a commercial vehicle.
Okay, all right. I mean, really, but it's sort of warning you of danger.
It's not warning me if I'm in a hotel room being comfortable and it's right outside my window. It's everywhere all the time. And I try not to notice. I try not to notice it, but that is probably my least favorite sound.
That's a first that I've heard that one. What other profession would you like to have tried?
Would I like to have tried?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You want to be a fireman when you were little?
I come from a very long line of physicians in my family on my maternal side, and this generation is really the first where that's not been the case. Okay. And so I would have probably liked to have been a psychologist, psychiatrist type. I really enjoy knowing people, and I think helping people in that arena would have been very interesting.
I can see that. Well, what do you know you would not want to do?
I know I wouldn't want to be serving in a political office as an elected official in the arena that exists right now for those folks. That I admire those who do it and do it earnestly and are not part of the machine that is so corrupt, is a part of what is involved there these days.
Yeah. Finally, what do you want to hear God say to you when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Well, I think we all want to say, well done, good and faithful servant. I don't know that I'll earn that. That's always my goal. But, I think that what I expect and hope is that God will welcome me into the kingdom as someone who, like everyone else here, has fallen short. But based on my belief in Jesus Christ and the fact that he paid a price for the fact that I fall so short, God will welcome me into his kingdom when that time comes. That's my hope.
Well, from what I could see, you're doing things very well.
Well, thank you, Ann.
And helping a lot of people.
Thank you so
David,
much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate
for being with us. David Littlewood, of course, with TFNB, your Bank for Life, and the Charity Champions Program. So stay tuned for the fall football season.
Looking forward to it. It's here. Too. It's right around the corner.
It's going to be fun. Thank you for being with us. Join us again next time.
Central Texas Life with Ann Harder is part of the Rogue Media family. Be sure to check out our other shows at roguemedianetwork.com. Please rate this show 5 stars on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Join us again soon for more Central Texas Life with Ann Harder.